time to set up. Give us some time to set up a little bit more because it's not just IG. We're doing Facebook and going live on our YouTube channel. So if you guys have not joined us and don't follow us on our YouTube channel, please go to our YouTube channel. Follow us, like us, share, because sharing is caring. And we have a great live for you guys today, live Q&A and all that other good stuff. Because in the wake of I was going to just do air quotes and pandemic, but the wake of this pandemic, we want to talk about, go get serious. I mean, we're serious all the time because it's some serious information that we're giving to you and we're bringing to you. But now we're going to be talking about connecting and connection during the time of crisis. So, we'll give you guys some good tips, let you guys know some good stuff, and want to hear from you as well. So make sure you are sharing this. Like I said, just like we always say,
sharing is caring.
So comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you are letting us know where you guys are viewing us from. We definitely want to know. And yes, you guys can view us from the comfort of wherever you are because our lives are coronavirus free.
Right.
So anyway, no COVID-19 through your life.
Not for us.
So yeah. We're going to give you guys a few minutes, like I said, a few minutes to share to the different groups. We're going to share to different groups as well. And let us know how you guys been handling the kind of chaos, I guess I could say.
How are you handling your energy?
Yeah, because when we were in the stores, like just to shop, just period, not, trying to stock up and take all the paper products from the shelves.
We didn't go crazy.
It was crazy just being in line.
It was indeed.
We actually didn't have to be in line as long as a lot of people. They were in line for like 3 hours at different stores and different things like that. And yes, we as co-wives shopped together.
And nobody got hurt.
We're going to talk about that because how are you connecting during this time?
Yes.
Are you connecting during time of chaos or crisis or anything like that? And if you're not, why not? And if you are, or you think that this is the reason why you should do it, if you're thinking that it has to be a crisis in order to do it, then why not just think of that, use that mentality all the time? Because you never know. We're not promised tomorrow. So, if you have that mortality motivation during that time, during a time of crisis, then have it every day. Keep that same energy, keep that same thought when it comes to connecting with each other.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, people, plugging in right away because we had some time and probably at home in front of our devices. So, send the salams out to Majida Abdul Hakim. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sis. Zaina, our sister out in Philly, always represent. Alhamdulillah, wa alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I guess I don't need to say it every time, but we'll say it one general time for everyone. Definitely welcome. Appreciate you being here. Let us know where you catching us from. And we see Amina, Ilyas. So good to finally catch you live. Alhamdulillah, good. But you asked some good questions and everything. Says we want to communicate. And chiming in from Detroit, Basila Muhammad. Alhamdulillah, grateful that the family as well. Indeed, alhamdulillah ta'ala. So that's YouTube right there. I'm going to be switching back and forth. So if you see me looking down, it's not ignoring anything. It's just I'm going back and forth between these social media channels and whatnot, keeping the conversation going. Of course, our Ajamu Butler is representing. So as the sisters have already said, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do so. Majid is in New Jersey, so good stuff. Alhamdulillah. I'll be moving back and forth and going back and forth, dealing with the logistics behind the scenes since we are in a coronavirus COVID-19 free zone. Now, here's the challenge. This month we're talking about connection, okay? And one of the big things that you're hearing about constantly is separation or quarantine or self-containment and everything else. And there are many theories why, there are many, justifications, and some things that, are straight real. I know that many masajid canceled Salatul Jum'ah. Ours didn't, and a number of masajid did not, that are released, in the hood or from Black folks in general, but some have. So, it kind of is what it is. And we understand, kind of both sides of it. I attended Salatul Jummah, alhamdulillah, we had it outside and stuff. So we're going to really discuss it. So if you have something to write with, something to write on, please do so. If you haven't shared it, share it to some groups you might be involved in, whether it's polygyny related or not, because we're going to have some good discussion today. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll get ready. I'm going to move something, so I'll keep looking to my left and seeing different things run across the screen. I'm going to move it closer, centered for us. So I'm going to get up, get out of the way. But we'll go there, but keep chiming in, and you can look where you want. If you want to see the, let me see. Okay. I didn't. All right. See, it's live. No editing though. Oh, it's down below, which is absolutely fine.
And comment
It's
how you
not
guys
showing up.
been feeling. Like my co-wife was saying earlier, let us know how you've been dealing with things and how are things going in your city.
Yeah, this is Facebook.
Just let us
Sister
kind of know.
Sophia,
So we can talk to
Celeste.
y'all.
Virginia. Uh-oh, it's
Okay.
a cough.
Don't cough this way.
Yeah, okay. That's,
Turn it to
we have to
Nakabi.
do that? I don't know. how to go
Just
back and
when he
forth right now.
coughs, says,
I don't know how to
just
go
come,
with it,
just
cover like that. Yeah,
Pick a
and it's
perk.
funny too, because people actually made a comment. They were like, oh, the comments. The coronavirus got people coming out in the car.
yeah.
So, yeah, but, it's, okay, yeah, let's talk about, we're looking at the different comments and everything like that. How you been dealing with it? Here's the
Yeah.
thing. I know people saying, wash your hands, wash your hands. And, the hug free, that was the thing. Let's go back to the Juma situation. When I first heard of them canceling Juma,
Yeah.
I actually was upset. Like, seriously, I was like,
Yeah, sure.
wait,
of course.
we have protocol, it's like, what's the protocol? Do this, don't just automatically, and that's the thing we're gonna talk about. Don't just automatically just take what you hear and just panic. Talk about
Yeah.
being patient through panic. And that was the thing. I'm like, oh, hold on, don't we got protocol for this? Instead of just saying, shut it down.
You would think
shut
so.
it down. So, you had people that was patient, some of the different people that are like head of different organizations and everything like that. I was like, you know what? Let's sit back and think these
Just
things
chill.
through.
Mhm.
And that's the thing what leaders do.
Yep.
When is pandemonium? When is chaos? When is craziness? Yes, emotion is going to be there,
Yeah.
but cooler heads should prevail and say, you know what? And that's the qualities of a leader.
Mhm.
And leaders usually lead to success and greatness and things as far as that. So when it comes down to it, it's like, what are you doing? Are you stepping back? Are you thinking of the pros and the cons and saying, what is a distraction? What is just emotional, or what are the things that we must do in order to get through this in a safe and secure manner?
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
And then that translates to our children. So if we freak out, they're going to freak out. So we have to
Oh,
be
yeah.
very careful about how we act when it pertains to the little ones or even our grown children. You have to have an honest discussion with them about staying and remaining calm through it.
Mhm.
Inshallah.
All right, cool. Let's get on this connection tip, because, this whole discussion about the coronavirus or whatever, it is what it is. I mean, we already know, as Muslims, whether you're Muslim or not watching this right now, we know that we're going to be tested no matter what it is, whether it's our wealth, our lives, our family. We know we're going to be tested. It is what it is, whether these are biological weapons that are released in order to change, manufacturing hubs or change economies. They're shifted from being 2020 now and a whole new decade ago, mainly virtual versus the old brick and mortar. It could be a number of different things behind it. The question is, one is, what do we do, first of all, and also maintain sanity, which actually is kind of first of all, because we have to breathe, relax. It is what it is. Not much really has changed. So we need to still be talking about connections, because despite all of it, our challenge really becomes connecting during these times of crisis. So practicing polygyny, being a man married to more than one woman, of course, there are different variables versus just somebody who's single, okay, or somebody who's just married to monogamy, for example. And there's different dynamics to whether or not someone has 2 children or none. And, so there are many different options. So today, I know we've gotten questions about, well, what are you guys doing? And, how are you doing it? What would you suggest and stuff like that? First, we're not going to talk about details and stuff like that regarding the coronavirus. We're not infectious disease doctors. However, We will be this Wednesday. One of the social service organizations that we are part of with Maruf will be broadcasting live with a few different infectious disease physicians, answering questions, related directly to it and so on and so forth, what you could do. So again, we're not getting into the disease specifically and what to do, what not to do, and all that. We're not qualified for that. Right. So, but we're going to be talking about it more from a family perspective and connecting, period. Because if I'm going down, the sister said, just really quickly, she says, she's all caps confidence, said with some flavor on it, that a good polygyny relationship is based on the husband. He is the captain of the ship. And if he doesn't steer it well, there will be chaos. Well, that's a good opinion. That's not necessarily the case, but it's a good opinion. However, the opposite is absolutely true. What's up?
I want to hear this. I'm on the edge of my seat, bro.
True.
I want to hear this.
The opposite is absolutely true. I mean, if it's not a good husband, if it's a weak husband, all that, then it absolutely will be chaos. But even if it's a good husband, humans are humans. So there still could be chaos as well, regardless. I mean, when we think of it as Muslims, we think of the Prophet ﷺ and the challenges he had with his wives. So much so that he had spent a month away from all of them. You know what I'm saying? And this is the best man, period. So it's not that, it's just only, the shoulders lay upon the leader or the man, the husband, absolutely. But, it's more of a generalization. But if you do want to have it successful, it's almost guaranteed not to be successful if you have a weak man kind of at the helm trying to navigate, if that makes sense. So with that being said, the question is, okay, what plans do you have? Can you grab that book? I at least want to get that out the way. Yeah, they also closed schools here. The governor shut down the schools after a number of schools have closed. They're even scaling back different hours on different companies, like Walmart and stuff like that. No panic in the household. I'm be like, absolutely tie your camel first, and then trust in Allah Ta'ala. Of course, and this is says she means in what the husband allows. Indeed, again, it goes back to the same thing of being weak or not. At least in my opinion, from that point. But we will give you some advice on at least what to study and what to get. If you don't have this book in your home, I'll suggest getting it. No, don't have an Amazon link or affiliate link to it, but everybody needs to get this book, in my opinion. All right, it's called Preparedness Now, which you should have had yesterday. But Preparedness Now deals with a whole bunch. It's an emergency survival guide by Eitan Edwards. If you don't know Eitan Edwards, he's a brother out of New York. Yeah, he's not Muslim, but he's a black man out of New York that really knows his stuff in and out, through and through. So when it doesn't matter if you're talking about catastrophes or different pandemics, you're dealing with biological agents being released, fire, foundation for survival, clothing, what to store and everything else. I'm telling you, the book is crucial. That's some really good stuff from your grab and go bags and so on, and different suggestions on what you should have on a budget up to the best. Crucial book, Preparedness Now. Inshallah ta'ala, grab it, study it, go through it. That'd be a good thing to learn with your family and be more prepared and be more prepared. You have more confidence in kind of what to do and moving forward.
I mean, we're talking about
I just
don't want to, I'm just checking y'all, make sure I'm not taking too much of the conversation. All right. So there are some people that also talk about when husbands don't want wives to work together. All right. Why do you think some of those reasons may be? And if for example, sis who mentioned that and others who know that, what are some reasons that have been given for something like that? Or what do you speculate may be some reasons? I know that maybe there's some bad history. Like, we had maybe last week during one of our Q&As, a sister had caused some drama and everything else. And then she felt bad and wanted to try to rectify, and the husband's like, nope, back. Yeah. I mean, I need to cut that off. So in those type of situations, if there's some bad blood or some friction, then, it will make sense. But what are some reasons you think may be good or not good on why a husband would want to do something like that?
To keep them apart. I mean, because I can only think of just the maturity level. I don't want to say immaturity level, but the maturity level where they're not at that space yet to communicate and where cooler heads or mature heads can prevail and move forward on something. It's like a immaturity issue on either side.
Yeah, that's true.
You're like so quiet, but I'm just
I mean,
saying, I
that's
can't think. I
that
can't think of a whole lot.
because
of
that's what we. That's
things
because
like
that
a big-
we've seen. We've like seen that. We have people reach out to us that have talked about those things. We've had sisters come to us personally and said, we have a history, or I might have said something, or I'm not ready yet. So, I mean, there could be many different reasons, but from having different clients and from our experiences with them, it is oftentimes history that is an unhealthy history together, or they're just not, the maturity level is not there yet. We're not ready yet. And sometimes they don't know how to get there.
or some fear.
Or some
on
fear.
The husband's part where he may not know, but because of what one wife may have said in the past, could be a thing where it's like, this ain't gonna work because she feels a certain way because that situation wasn't revisited or whatever. So there's some fear there that, there's not, that they're not going to be able to get through the things smoothly, so to speak.
Because that's true, because we have to think about, it's best to think about what he knows that you know not. So there's so many different little conversations that he doesn't necessarily have the burden, but he has the responsibility of keeping certain things quiet and under his own hat and not telling everybody everything. So there's a lot of conversations that he's had with both sides, and maybe that's why he's said no. Right now would not be a good time, like you were saying. He might have something in his ear that it's not his responsibility to tell you, or nor should he say, she said this about you, that's why you are not going to talk. And then you said this about her, and then it becomes very messy. So you don't have to do anything, but it's good to look into not just your co-wife's, what's happening in her shoes, but also what's happening with your husband, because there's so much that he knows that the two of you do not know.
Another thing, it could just be just not want to have to deal with it, or he's involved with some drama or wants to keep some stuff, separated. So, I mean, it could be a number of different reasons. But one of the good things that Sister Majita's mentioned is that her husband, made sure everybody was on the same page and worked together and stuff like that. It's a process. It really is a process, and it's a rarity in many polygynous unions. So, it is what it is. Ideally, there's no real ideal situation other than people should get along. And this is a prime example. Right now, we're dealing with a pandemic, and you're dealing with the U.S. media spreading a lot of fear. You have people panicking, not really having any type of plans. And then, of course, there are those who dig a little deeper and say, okay, well, patient 0 actually died here. I think it was down in Atlanta, right outside the CDC. And it could be, a Trump move that looks like it's ingenious to his cronies and those who execute for him. He's already been battling China for a while. So the number one economy versus number two economy. And of course, China's number one manufacturing hub. If that gets changed, it can bring jobs here to the United States. You get that thing, then you have the whole force into, the future. It's 2020. It's time for an entire shift in our industrial age thinking to really move forward in information age. Mm-hmm. And regardless of what it is, at home, if you're involved in polygyny and you don't have them working together, now you're under a crisis. So now it's all the extra drama and all the wasted time and all the other stupid stuff to deal with this drama where you have to work together. So we've known, and work with polygynous families, they haven't talked maybe a decade, but now they have to talk now. They're forced to have to talk now and cover that decade and act like nothing was really there, because in actuality, usually is not. It's like making friends. You could make a friend in the sandbox. You could not make a friend in the sandbox. But as mature adults, you have to be able to build with the family. Mm-hmm. See, this type of poly, when I'm talking about polygyny, is the only type of poly that's family focused. Despite the pictures or images that people try to put out, oh, it's poly, it's just man, these women all over me. It's just, this is big old thing, right? Ridiculous, right? So this ain't polyamory, you know what I'm saying, or polyandry. That's not it. This is polygyny. This is family based. Babies know who their father is, and it's a whole leadership thing. It's family structured, and it should be on that basis, and not just some man trying to collect for a stable. That's not even respectable enough to even say when it comes to polygyny to begin with. That's mad disrespectful. But with that being said, if you, as an adult, as me, as an adult male, and I'm married to multiple women, can't have multiple women act like they're adults as well without some cat fighting or the drama or the gossiping and all this fear mongering. Now, some of the stuff may come from general, normal, natural emotions that get out of control, or lack of self-control, self-discipline, lack of personal growth. We know some of the reasons for it, but don't let a crisis have to be the thing that bring you together. You know, sadly, there's been some people, they haven't come together until it's a funeral now. Oh, husband died. Now the brothers and sisters are meeting each other. They're resenting their parents and all kind of stuff goes on. At what point we have to ask ourselves, are we going to mature up and be able to lead and live like adults? That's really the first place, is looking and evaluating your situation in polygyny, because the first step to change is awareness. Is it where I want it to be? Are we good enough where we are and moving forward, or is there a lot of work to do? You know, because work is work. It takes work. So again, though we're talking to you seemingly from a place of privilege, it actually is not. It actually is not. If you just look at the snapshot right now, oh yeah, it looks like it is. It's like, oh, we get along, we do this together, and it's my co-wife and all this kind of stuff. But then you don't go into the drama and all the stuff of the years to build personal development. Now, not drama, fighting, cussing each other out, but it's drama because Coach Fatimah didn't want to talk with Coach Nyla. And there's going to be a problem here. Or if we go to eat together and it be drama. Right? That's still drama. It's not the traditional high school stuff. Nope. They were always cordial, always respectful, and that's fine. And that's the minimum requirement. But are we striving for minimum? Is that it now? Is that what it is? You know what I'm saying? Or are we trying to be outstanding or better or moving forward, be examples? So the first question is the first thing is to evaluate your situation. All right. Check again. Awareness is the first step to change. So that's all I'm gonna talk about on that point. I know you have something to say. I'm just expecting you have something to say.
And you went into stuff and I kind of forgot. However, just going on the wives and the sisters part when it comes to waiting until it's a crisis or calamity or a funeral, whatever the case may be, because we have worked with a number of families where it's been the case, where it's like, because we have worked with a number of families where it's been the case, where it's like getting them to see it from a different mindset, which saying that whether you want to get to know her or not, the common denominator is the husband. He's a common denominator. And this is still a family. I was always of the mindset that we are one big family. When you're in polygyny, you're one family, you're connected. You know, people say two families or multiple families or anything like that. Okay, it might be multiple households or anything or that. But when it comes down to it, you guys are connected. The children, if you have children from either side, you're connected, and your children are connected by their father. It's these things where you're looking at it, when you're looking at it, you see it as a, when you look at it as a family, when you look at that mindset, it's helping them shift the mindset of it's not just about you. Think about even just in monogamy, when a person, it's this single person, they come together, it's not me anymore, it's we. That doesn't change in polygyny. It's not a me situation, it's a we situation. And when the we situation, when you look at it as a we situation, you start to say, how do we build as a team? How do we succeed as a team? How do we do this stuff? If I'm out and about, tips for sisters out there, if I'm out and about, I think about, I'm out and about and I'm at the store, I'm shopping at the store, I'm wondering if my co-wife has these certain things or she need anything, she does the same thing for me. Yeah. Because we look at our whole dynamic as one family, regardless of us being in two different households. So tips real quick, look at it as a family situation, a we situation, because if it gets to the point where, as we talked about before, now kids are upset because they didn't know their siblings or anything like that, because people couldn't be adults in the situation and let their emotions control them like a toddler, then that's something that you got to deal with, and you still got to answer for that. Yeah, you do. Not understanding, and I'm definitely speaking to Muslims right now, because we believe that believe at the end, we're going to have to answer for the things that we do. And do you have a good excuse of why you didn't talk to your co-wife? Do you have a good excuse to why you let a lot of years go by where the kids didn't know each other or anything like that? Or we decided to wait till there was a crisis. When it comes down to it, if it's a crisis situation, if you're thinking about it like, oh, well, we'll get together if that was to happen. You hear what I just said? If that was to happen, oh, we'll get it when that, or if that
It's
happens.
happening.
It's not about if, it's when it happens. And not only if it or when it happens, we're not promised tomorrow. So if you got a mortality motivation, if you're going to have mortality motivation at the time of a crisis, have mortality motivation every single day, because you're not promised the next second. That's, my thing for right now, because we see so much of it, and dealing with, the coaching and everything like that, we see a lot of the jealousy and the me mentality. And it's like, okay, you got to think of it from a we standpoint, just like when it was you and your husband like that, it was a we. So now everything else is a we. People are like, well, that he married her. I ain't marry her. That's true. We talk about that too. You didn't marry the co-wife or anything like that, but your guys are still connected, and you're connected as a family.
And I think too, with that the men have to be very careful about how they introduce polygyny into their family. I mean, we gonna talk about it. We have to talk about it all the ways that it comes. So if he creating a division, that's his fault. And it's something that everybody's starting to fight back from. So it's best to not create such a rigid division that you don't have to try to crawl up out of it.
True.
Because if the co-wife is saying, I want everybody, and the husband is saying, I don't want y'all to talk right now, then the co-wife's mindset is everybody. But if his mindset is not everybody, then that's how things can get jacked up. What Coach Nyla was speaking about was, I'm glad she spoke about that, because I wanted to talk about sustainable healthy habits. One of the sustainable healthy habits is connecting with each other, checking in with each other. Now, when we were at our big giant box warehouse store that everybody descended upon, I noticed a conversation with two men. I said, well, if there's sustainable healthy habits, there's sustainable unhealthy habits. So like you sustain an injury from a car crash, you're sustaining something, but is it something that is helpful? The conversation was very quick. The two of them joked about how they just grabbed alcohol first thing. Mm-hmm. And there's like, that's the first thing I grabbed was the beer. Mm-hmm. So make sure we have it. It's a sustainable, unhealthy habit, because alcoholics, I could speak on that. My father was one. He died from alcoholism. They sustain that unhealthy habit of drinking every day to function. What we're talking about is habits that are healthy, checking in on each other, understanding that your children are connected and related, and your husband is in the middle of you two, and you're sharing him, you're sharing your children with one another. Families share. That's what they do. Sharing is caring all day, every day. So it's important to understand that we don't try to shove things down your throat, but we're telling you what the best practices are. And the best practices are and have been for us to have a connection and communicate with each other and see if everyone is okay. I was seeing was my family okay before polygyny. I'm going to see if they're okay through and during polygyny. And we know the Creator is in control of all of this, regardless of mankind, animal, mineral, government, open, shut down, quarantine, not quarantine, United States or overseas. He is in control of his creation. But within that realm, we have to understand that we have to control ourselves during these times, especially because, as we were talking about before, our children are watching us. So, there's a trick that some people think the kids, they're little. They won't know we're not talking. They're little. We looked up, and our little ones are big ones. And my oldest son was 5 years old. When I looked up, he was 5, and then I'm looking up now, and he's talking about polygyny and like it ain't nothing, and he just goes on, and he's gonna have more than one wife, and da-da-da, and all this stuff. And I said, what happened to the little 5-year-old I was having the conversation with? Time went by. But what's great about our situation is that the younger children that we have, this is very normal for them. This is not anything abnormal because we were intentional about it being normal for them. So I didn't have time to stop and keep not talking and all this stuff. We were having children, and our daughters were teenagery and getting older, and we had to have these really deep conversations like we do now with our babies and our bonus babies. So it's important to connect with each other before we get to the point where we're going, oh my God, aliens, and the world's coming to an end. And now we are scrambling. It's about not scrambling.
Right. That's the thing. Not panicking, scrambling, acting crazy. And I like what you said when you were talking about the children and making sure it's a normal thing.
Yeah, it's normal.
That's the thing. You don't want, we are role models, whether we want to see it or not. We are, the other word for, I was thinking of role model, mentor, some other stuff I forgot, but we are role models. People look up to us, whether it's our children or people on the outside or anything like that. So when it comes down to it, we got to see what we are putting out there. Like I said, a lot of times when we're focusing on me, I'm not saying don't be selfish when it comes to taking care of yourself. Because if you can't take care of you, if you don't take care of you and something happens to you, you can't take care of yourself. That I get. I'm not saying don't take care of you, just take care of other people and don't think about you. No, I'm saying don't be selfish to the point where it's all about me. It's only about me. It's every man for themselves type of thing. Because when it comes down to it, that starts to trickle on other people that you associate with. A couple of things will happen. They'll either distance themselves from you, or they will pick up on some of the things, and it'll be this toxic that is going through your pipeline. And then when you finally wake up and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I've done. So let me try to fix this. You gotta give an antidote. You gotta give an antidote to the other people that you done poisoned throughout the pipeline. So you gotta be careful with that. You gotta be careful with the mentality. And that's what the connection comes with being aware, being mindful, using your brain. Yes, emotions are there, but can we look at it in a smart manner? Can we be smart about the situation?
Be logical.
Can we be wise about the situation? Can we look at the logic and say, okay, I understand this. But one of the things we talked about during this live cast are some tips that I look at when I think about it. I go right to John C. Maxwell's book, The Leadership book. I always get mixed up on 21 irrefutable, 17 indisputable.
Yeah, I always do that.
But I go through that because it's just second nature to us right now.
It is.
These are things that we learn from, we take from our mentors and everything like that. But I notice when you're trying to lead, yes, the husband is at the head of the house and things as far as that, but we as wives, we have to lead as well. We as the women, we have to lead. We nurture the household, we help grow the household, we do these things.
Bounce ideas off
of each other, because weak spots. I have some weak spots that Coach Fatimah definitely fills in on. Coach Nazir fills in on. So my thing is, it's like, I don't know everything, and I don't claim to know everything, but I need the help. And I'm humble enough to know that I need the help, and I'm going to get the help if I ask for it.
We all have to get to a point where we say, okay, I can't do this by myself anymore. I need help with this. I will throw a cell phone her way in a minute to tell her, help me. I don't know how I got here. I don't know how to get out of this screen. Look at this laptop, different things. Even with, I called, what was it, last month, my brother was battling shingles and cleared up now. I called Coach Nyla, Health and Wellness. What can I throw on him? What can I tell him to slime himself with? And, I had to ask because I'm not as versed in it. So, and that's okay, because I would ask somebody else, what difference does it make because she's my co-wife? It's like you humble yourself for the other people. But no, I ain't going to ask the co-wife. I'm not going to ask her. She knows exactly the answer, but I'm not going to ask. ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There he is.
That's ego.
And
one
God
of
is
my
not our
mentors
ego.
told me.
God is not our ego. We say, oh, God doesn't want me to go through this. God wouldn't want me to talk to someone like her. God is not your ego.
And ego, one of my mentors told me a while ago, stands for edging God out. Edging God out. So, we seek refuge with Allah Ta'ala from our own egos.
Yes.
Man, you know what I'm saying? Now, as soon as I
Here
drink
you
some
go.
water.
Yeah, it's
There you
crazy.
go.
And you cough nowadays, it's like.
Now you cough as soon as
Well,
you sit down and
he
start talking.
coughs all over our houses, so we're good.
Yeah, I'm just sickly evidently.
No
So,
allergy season
with
in the
that being
house.
said, that's sneezing. But nevertheless, all right, cool.
He said that's sneezing.
Yeah,
See?
we sneeze and sniffle and chill, hay fever, all of that.
Oh.
But anyway, with that being said, so what are maybe 2 tips you 2 would suggest, especially during a time like this when people are panicking unnecessarily? Listen, preparation needs to be done. Preparation is not last minute. Now, if you are last minute, like most people right now that's been shopping, it's been 24 hours around the clock buying up all the toilet paper. I don't know what they expect to get. It's like,
There ain't no food.
evidently there's supposed to be some type of diarrhea stuff going on, but that's not even part of the virus. So how that equates to toilet paper losses, I don't know.
Flu.
And that's one of the last things Muslims
Flu.
worry about because, we have bidets and water. You know what I'm saying? It's chat, right? So anyway, I still understand the toilet paper
Washing
thing.
machines.
But with that being said, what are, 2 things, especially, during this crisis, for those who are not prepared or those who are now have some extra motivation with which to build a bridge with your family and recognize they're actually family versus any unnecessary tension and stress keeping things separated where you cannot operate as a unit, as the coaches have just said. A couple things. What would you suggest?
All right, a couple things. One, as I talked about before, mortality motivation. When it comes down to it, you're like, okay, well, I would do this if this was a situation. Okay, say it's a situation. But my thing is not just I would do this if this is a situation. Think about if you are the person who needs the help. If you are the person who needs someone to take care of you or help you and everything like that. Because a lot of times we're thinking that we're the ones that are going to be the okay ones, the one that have the choice of, whether to talk to somebody or not talk to somebody or anything like that. Think about if it was you that needs the help. Wouldn't you want someone to help you? Wouldn't you want someone to care for you? Think about that. Another thing is that take a step back and be logical. Yeah, the emotions are going to be there, but think about what's best for everybody as a whole. Looking at the big picture, what's best for the family dynamic and the family unit. I was thinking real quick about some people who have to stay in one place together, in one house. How would that look? Can you get along in close proximity and close quarters with one another? And if you can't, why not? The thing is that we are adults here. To know that I am not a toddler and I can actually control my emotions if I really wanted to, because if we were dealing with an employer or anything like that, we would do that. So you might as well do it with a person that you are in close proximity with, and that's part of your family.
I agree. One thing I want us to understand is that we think we have time. We think we have time to not talk, and we have time to, we're stockpiling our emotions, our negative emotions, and deciding on when we can speak and not speak. And like what you were saying, Coach Nyla, we don't have that kind of time. We don't. The time is of the essence, and we need to have hard conversations now if we're going to have them. We have to be intentional about having them, and we need to be aware that they're coming our way. So if your husband says, I need to talk to you, talk to him. If your wife says, I need to talk to you, talk to her. Pick a good time in which to talk, come together and have conversations. We have conversations, the 3 of us, all the time, because there are many children that rely on us, whether they be older or very small. They all rely on us to have our stuff together and not have an ego about, you know, well, they didn't listen to me and all that, and drag them all into the middle of it. Also, just personally, I know that if some people think, oh, ignorance is bliss and it'll blow over and all these things like that, and the coronavirus and the government and all these different things, you have to, or you should, I would suggest that you begin to read very heavily, invest in your education, invest in educating your children about what's going on, so that if our family doesn't feel chaos or we're not afraid right now because we've planned things out, they will see other families that have not. So if we're riding along and they see chaos at the Target or chaos at the Walmart or in the streets, they have to have a conversation so our children are not afraid. So those are my tips. If you need to have a hard conversation, have them and stay informed. I wouldn't say watch the news 24/7, but stay informed, because that's not good for you either. Because if you want to find bad news, turn the news on, you know. And
Let me see that book again. All right, so I mentioned the first one, right? Well, okay. Preparedness now. I know the one Facebook Live cut off, so we had to restart it. So preparedness now, crucial. Eitan Edwards, get it. Amazon, they'll still deliver for now. As an emergency survival guide, and it deals with emergency survival. Let me see the different topics, for example. Chapter 1, facing the facts, preparing for them. Foundation for survival, the E-kit and safe clothing, grab and go bag, self-defense, personal protective equipment. Then we get into water, food, urban gardening, shelter, sanitation and hygiene, lighting, power, heating, emergency communications, evacuation protocols, transportation, subway escape, fire prevention escape, extreme weather. The big one, earthquake, tsunami, volcanoes, for example, infectious diseases. Relevant now, chemical and biological warfare. Can be relevant now, most likely. Nuclear and radiological events, crime prevention for the home, 21st century home, and so on. And it's detailed. It's really, really good stuff. Not getting paid on it. Don't have an affiliate link. Get the book. It's crucial. Or look up Eitan Edwards online. He has a lot of YouTube videos and different stuff as well. And awareness. The next part is when I talk about awareness, really drafting out where you want to go. What goals do you have? So Coach Fatimah talked about, speaking with someone, putting down your personal program and making time to talk. Now, I will let you know this. Here's a caveat. Don't text or say to your significant other, we need to talk. And don't talk at that time. Don't text, oh, we need to talk. And you sitting there with a cliffhanger all day. Worried about, well, we need to talk. Oh, it's nothing. We'll just talk about it later. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. That's all I'm saying. Because it's not, it creates unnecessary tension and stress and work, whatever. Just say what it's going to be about. So you can talk about it at a certain time. Choose that. That's more mature and easy than we need to talk.
Just say,
because our mind, we have that negative bent. And then, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. So there. And of course, we have programs, whether it's our goal setting program, our relationship mastery inner circle program. And you can find out that information at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/store. If you're already joining us now live because you got the email, congrats. We're going to send you some other information as well. If you're not on our email list, why not get on it? Outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, because you're not going to want to miss our next communication this week in particular. So with that being said, that's the training part. If you have any questions that we can address, that would be great. I know we do have some via email that one in particular I want to address. But if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment box below on Facebook. If you are on YouTube, if you like the video, then actually like the video. Hit the like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Help us get up to our, our 1,000 members so we can have a little less intricate setup. So if you have any questions, fire away. And if we can address them, we will. If they related to the coronavirus or COVID-19, Wednesday night, we will have some infectious disease doctors right here discussing it, and I'll be streaming it for you guys. So, any questions? I'll be looking back and forth for any questions. And if you have any additional comments, ladies, feel free.
Mine escaped me.
Yeah, I'd say, definitely work on working together. Work on communicating and connecting with one another.
Yeah.
You're not promised tomorrow. You're not promised the next time. You're not promised later. So,
I'll talk to them later on. Make the connection.
I'll do it later. And then, that's a lot of people's, people on their deathbed, they were saying that was a thing. always thinking I could put stuff off till later. People who are sick or have like cancers or anything like that. It was like, that's what I regret. That's my biggest regret, putting stuff off till later, thinking I had it later. And it's actually like, I want to say like it's a book or a pamphlet or a letter or something. It was like a professor who was dying of cancer, and he wrote out a thing that talked about that, about later, and the regret of putting things off to later. I wish I remembered the person's name, but it was a professor. He was like well known for that letter that he put out there to his students about not putting things off till later. So yeah, so it's serious, and at the end of the day, we're all human. We have our feelings, our emotions, and things as far as that. But as we talk about, and we continue to talk about, polygyny is family building. It's about family. It's not just about me, I. And I mean, that's marriage period. But polygyny is one form. I mean, it's the only form of poly that is about family and growth and growing as a family. So you're practicing polygyny, and think about practicing polygyny seriously as a family.
Right. It's not
Dion.
trending.
Alaikum assalam, Dion Johnson. So our email to send us any questions or whatnot is support@outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. In order to get on our email list, if you will, to get direct communications from us, you just go to the website, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. Go there. You can download the 5 keys to a fulfilling relationship, especially in polygyny report that we did. And you get that, you get on the email list, you get communications from us, and we can build together. So, sister, I don't know, could be a brother, Zay, could be short for Zachariah, okay. I think it's one of our like interference.
That's what's frequently interference.
Sister, yes, the sister asking the question. So, what should one do if one refuses to work together or be mature after many attempts, counseling, and the husband's attempt as well? It's not interference, isn't bad. It's just saying the husband's trying to bring it together as well.
Oh, he's trying to intervene on. Oh, okay.
That's probably the better word.
Like, what is he doing?
So what would you say?
Well, I mean, go ahead.
Well, one is to get clarity. That's very important. To get clarity. What is it and why? What are the reasons? Is it insecurity? Is it jealousy? Envy? Is it bad blood in the past? So now one party is ready, but the other party's not ready, so she's still on her thing. I don't know. So get clarity, one. But number two, at least for us, minimally, again, the minimum level is cordiality and being courteous. Do you have to be friends and best friends and do? Nope. You know what? The crazy part is most people's marriages suck, period. It's not just polygyny. This is the monogamy, period. I was talking to a brother. He has 3 wives. He was like, look, I know you're talking about polygyny and making this work and your wives working together. And that's like unbelievable. I can't even picture that. I just want to have peace in one house. When I come home, I want to have a good relationship with my wife so I can have peace in that house. So what he's telling me is that he's married to 3 different women, maintaining these households. And the least of his concerns is whether or not they get along together. We operate as a union. The least of his concerns, man, I want to be able to go to bed in peace and not have drama in my household. Okay? So let's get some clarity. On a minimum level, there should be a level of respect, some cordiality going on, and some common courtesy. It may take time to open up. Again, if you just joining us, sis, then just know that it took us several years to get here to where we are. Okay, so there was friction, but it wasn't hood.
No.
Wasn't fighting, wasn't cussing out, wasn't all that kind of junk. Yes, it was emotions. Yeah, it was tears and fears and all that kind of stuff and everything, right? That's normal, natural life, but you have to deal with it. Now, what I mean by dealing with not is just, hey, you deal with it, woman. No, you have to deal with it. You accept stuff as part of life, but dealing with it means you want to evaluate where you are and where you want to go. And as a leader of the team, husband, you got to determine on how to attempt to make that happen. He's the coach. He's the leader of the team. So how am I going to get my team to get to this championship or at least championship level or be in the runnings for it? All right. That's his responsibility, and try to see who's going to be on that team, because not all players going to make it to the championship or be on the team. I'm just saying, and the success of your relationship and your marriage personally does not depend on the success of a different marriage. Okay, you can have a great marriage and be going, but at the same time, somebody you married to the same man, all of a sudden she's not married to the same man. Now it's a divorce. So your marriage doesn't hinge on that. It'd be nice to be friendly. It'd be nice and stuff like that. It'd be better, likely less stressful. But one, get clarity, determine where you want to go, and see how you can help equip that person to go there. See, that's one of the things we focus on most is really building that bridge. Because we had to build the bridge. Like there was not a thin little bridge and some ropes, and then we had to put it. No, we built it in the air, like all the way across, and it took several years. It's a process. So it's not just a 1, 2, 3 thing, but one, get some clarity. Why not? And also ask the question, in what other area or part of your life as an adult do you have that same type of problem? Those same type of why nots? Because people have problems building a relationship with their co-wife, but they can make a brand new friend they didn't even know yesterday, but in 2 weeks and meet somebody and they feel like they're friends forever. How did that just happen? Was it just a desire put there, or not a wall that you just put up and you have to have that high school jealousy because this is my man? And that person is with my man, so I can never be their friend ever, because that'll just go against societal conditioning. Those are some basic questions that I would suggest in relation to that question. But again, I want to keep going on about it.
No, it's interesting. My brain went to when you were talking about championship and the team and everything like that. And I was like, family, team, this and that. But the coach is, kind of usually you have a good coach, you can bring the team to the championship. However, a lot of times team members get traded. Sorry, just into that because I was like,
or benched.
These different things. But yeah, the NBA with the whole NBA shut down, guys. I'm sorry.
If we triggered the men, we're sorry.
But no, but yeah, that's pretty much the thing. Is I love what you said about any other part of your life. Is there any other part of your life that you are, is that happening with, or is it these type of things? Because it made me think of working as a family and working as this unit, and you wouldn't do these certain things in your job. Would you snap off? Would you be this type of way? Would you mouth off? Would you be disrespectful? Would you do any of those things, at work? And we found out a lot of times that that's probably the least place people want to be, is at work. They don't like the people there. They don't like the person they work for. But they give them so much respect and so much other stuff. But when it comes to their family dynamic, it's like, I ain't even gonna try to work at it.
That's because people look past their ego when they're at work oftentimes. And I think when the women sometimes go, yeah, I would like her, but we got the same husband. Or sometimes you have to look past the fact that you have the same husband and get to know the person as a person, not his wife. And I've said this time and time again, when you start looking past and every conversation is not about your husband, and you get to know the person at their core, who they are, what they mean to their mother, what they mean to their siblings, their father, their kids, then sometimes I think women don't want to talk to their co-wife because they're scared they might end up liking her, and for me, I didn't think I disliked my co-wife because she was a likable person. So it wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe he married her. It was never that. It's I don't have something here and then you get married to somebody else, but this here is lacking for me. So then you start to see an injustice. So if it's time, for example, if a woman's husband is working and she doesn't get to see him, then he gets married again. Oh, now I'm really not going to see you a lot. You got married again. You're stretching yourself. So I think a lot of times we don't look past the fact that you give the man so much power. You don't look past the marriage to get to know the other wife. You don't humanize her. It's like you devalue, dehumanize, you demonize, all of them D's. You do. And sometimes you don't know you're doing it. And we need to be more aware of how we're showing up and the assumptions we're making about everybody involved. Because you'll make assumptions about your husband, you'll make assumptions about your co-wife, and it'll create a distance that is very hard to dig yourself out of. It's really difficult because you'll burn up all these bridges, and you got to cross back over them, and then you didn't burn them up. See, so you have to rebuild, and if you can stop yourself from doing that, then you won't have to burn those bridges up.
I had to look at those different things from a different point of view too, because the thing that I'm hearing and that I've heard a lot with some of our clients and with some of the sisters online, the thing is that is the issue of sharing the same man. Like that is actually the issue. And I had to just try to, and that's the type of person I am. I try to see it from the other person's point of view. So that's kind of how I operate, because the sharing of the same person is not the negative thing. It's not a negative thing to me. It's actually the coming together of two sides of something. And I don't know, that's just me. Like I said, my brain works in a weird way, and other people said that too. They're like, okay, well, what if? So you don't want to hear the what ifs on my end, because it won't coincide with a lot of other people's what ifs. Mine is like just different, and it's not whether it's right or wrong, it's just different. And so in order for me to connect with other people, I got to look at it from their point of view. Their standpoint, what could possibly be the thing that would trigger them or bother them or hurt them, because it will most likely not be the same thing that would trigger me or bother me. Because polygyny, I was like, yes.
And I said no.
I was like, family
absolutely not.
The time to myself on certain things,
but
the time to get. So it was a lot of different things. I was like, oh, a bigger family, a co-wife that's going, who's been in Islam longer, that can teach me some stuff. This beautiful woman who knows these different things. I can learn from this. They had these kids, and I can learn this other stuff. And my daughter. So it was all these pros that I got blindsided by the cons. and that taught me to start seeing things from a different perspective, even more so. And then I'm like, okay, I can get that. I can understand that. However, this is what I see, and I would like for it to be this way. So once again, we talk about the bigger picture, and we work towards the bigger picture. It wasn't ever a point where Coach Fatimah never saw the bigger picture.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't
so
want
she
to
always
see
saw the
it, but
bigger
I
picture.
saw that.
It was to the point where it finally was like, okay, I get it. Let's, move forward. And that was it. So don't ever think that the other wife may not see what you see. It's just like, that clarity part of saying that, you know what, let me get to know her, or let me get to tell her my side, or let me get to tell her, these type of things. So don't assume. I'm gonna always go and talk about, don't assume that your co-wife know what's going on. Don't assume that your co-wife is coming in trying to take your man. Don't assume that
she can't take him nowhere.
Don't assume that your co-wife is trying to destroy your family, because it could be totally, most likely, a lot of times, it would be totally the opposite. Now, you could have some people that's out there that's to do that, but that is up to, women have certain intuition, but it's also up to the coach and the leader to choose wisely and choose right, and also be able to listen to his wives on where the issues lie, and to be able to evaluate what's real and what's Memorex, or what's the fake.
It's really Memorex. Okay, good stuff. Well, we got to get to another question.
Okay.
What tips? Well, let's answer the second part first. Should couples speak about polygyny before marriage?
Before marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Like to talk together and talk amongst each other.
Yeah, some they're not married, they're single, and want to get married. So should you talk about polygyny prior to marriage? I would say, if that's part of your plan, as in, when I initially got married, I wasn't thinking about polygyny. I was 19 years old. It was like nobody practiced it, anything. Yeah, but she's not gonna be like, hey, would you be practice polygyny? No, you know what I'm saying? So,
but to that point, there have been some sisters that enter it and they're young and they want to do it. So there is that other part where they go, I want a husband that is going to practice.
Yeah. So hence my point is, if that's some type of the plan, then of course, it's always better to discuss things in advance. So that you have an agreement, make sure you're on the same page, or at least know what your intentions and stuff are. So it's not something that just seems like it's out of the blue or anything like that. Now, as we were married, I did speak about polygyny and stuff like that. And, prior to having any type of intention or anything being set up, I mean, I rapped about it in some different lyrics. I had some stuff in my goal book and all that kind of stuff. So it was there. You know what I'm saying? It's known as a part of Islam, but it wasn't anything I was even pursuing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, earlier would be better. If, again, it's on your mind. It wasn't on mine at the time. So what tips would you give couples in long-term relationships? It can be easy to take the other person for granted and get stuck in a routine.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So
Being
that's
comfortable.
what Humble Soul asks. So
That's true.
what can you do to not take the other person for granted and get stuck in a routine or
I
something
think
that's
you
just
need to
monotonous?
find something. It was a day where Coach Nazir was gone, and I was listening to reading different things about and recalling friends complaining about their husbands and he this, that, and the third. And I said, well, I thought about it, and I said, well, what if he died today? Suddenly, boom. So there was a chair there was his desk, his stuff on his desk, and before I knew it, I was welling up. That don't mean the feeling stayed with me throughout the day, because it did not. Because I distinctly remember him working my nerves later on that day, and I was like, "Ooh, you don't know. I was just reminiscing over your death, and you don't even realize." I mean, it just was. I was overcome, because then it starts to trickle into, how do your kids feel? How do you feel? How does his mother feel? How do all his friends feel? All his different groups and organizations feel, and his brothers at the masajid? How would they feel, and how would it impact us? So I had to, even though, I'm still thinking, you work my nerves, and today's a new day, and I'm pissed today, and said that thing last night in a text, made me mad. I was doing all that. So, but I try to find something, even when I'm in my best moments, even when I'm at my worst moments with this guy, which is isolated. It has nothing to do with Coach Nyla. So it doesn't, I'm mad at him, now I'm mad at her, now I'm mad at the marriage, I'm mad at them. No, it doesn't work that way with me. I don't do that. But I try to think of something to be grateful for him every day, about him every single day. And then it kind of reins you in. Okay, now if something happened in his chest in an hour, then somebody have to scrape me off the ceiling. It's one of these things where even when you were speaking about the brother with the 3 wives, and I said, what if he passed away suddenly? They ain't had no husband no more to complain about, or to stress about, or to not communicate with, or to, judge. What if they didn't have it anymore? It would shift us. So I've found out through the years that Allah has a very incredible way of refocusing our energy. So through polygyny, he refocused my focus on him, because then now I need him. Now I want to talk to him very deeply and have this deep conversation with him. So it elevated me in a way in which it did not elevate our husband. His way to be elevated was different. And this is my way to refocus on Allah. So for me, it's just gratitude. I don't care if he put air in a tire. This one time I didn't have to do it. So.
And then being grateful, obviously, is what she came with.
Yeah, gratitude, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because people do a lot of the mortality motivation we talked about. I think a lot of my things that I tell people too, when you get into the point, then a lot of our clients, when you get to a point of being too familiar, because we do that and we get too comfortable, is to step back and look at the things that the person does, and what they go through. Because when I start thinking about, dealing with different types of emotions or issues or anything like that, I'm like, how would I deal with that? Is he dealing with these things in a way that is, he's dealing with these things, period. And is he dealing with these things in a way that is smooth, for lack of a better word, and not too smooth, but just to a point where he he have to plan out what he needs to say or how he needs to say. So it's those different things where if you're dealing with certain things from both ends, then you're dealing with children, you're dealing with, maintaining households, all of these different things. If I think about that, like when I think about what I do, like, okay, well, I do this and that and that and that and another. If I think about that when I want to fuss about what I do, I think about, okay, what does this person do as well? This person not sitting on his behind eating bonbons. This person ain't just
do that with me.
What's a bonbon anyway?
It's
like
ice
an ice cream.
My bad. They know what it is.
It's ice cream with chocolate on.
Oh, okay.
He's had
I just remember Peggy Bundy saying
It's a
bonbons,
bonbon.
but I thought it was like
my
a chocolate
God, we're
candy
dating
or something.
ourselves.
Chocolate covered ice
Anyway,
cream.
all right. Sorry.
Yeah.
But nobody is, so when you look at that, when you're being, like I said, being grateful, that's like just one of the main things, but also putting yourself in that other person's shoes. What do they do? What have they done? Certain things, like I said, we get familiar, and because the person is constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again, but those same things over and over again, if they were taken away, you would definitely feel it. So,
Yeah, you would.
be grateful for that and just look into the stuff that they do and don't just take it for granted.
They can be boring. So here's mine. I'm going to go a different way. Of course, gratitude is important, no doubt. I'll second, third that all day. But this is what I'll say. One is learn your personality type. Learn their personality type. So you can better understand yourself and better understand them. And there's a few different things that we need that I know one of my coaches talked about. He talked about one thing that we really need in our lives is certainty. You need certainty. You need to have some type of monotonous routine or something that occurs on a daily basis that become really your habit. So whether it's getting up, brushing teeth, doing something has to be good. You need to know the sun comes up at this time. It might be cloudy, maybe sunny, whatever it may be. You need to know it's going to be light outside. Then it's going to be dark. And it's going to be light. You need this certainty in your life. You wake up and it's just dark and it's dark, and you're not in one of the poles on the planet. Something's going to be wrong. You're not going to really have anything as a stake or something strong in your life. One, but two, you also need variety. So that's what it sounds like. We talk about something that just becomes routine, or we're going to talk about becoming too familiar. One of the first steps is one, to be grateful. Number two is to, by understanding the person's personality type, is to do something that helps in that area, helps expand the person. So one of the first things I would suggest for you to do is to pick up or read or get from the library the book, The Charge by Brendan Burchard. It talks about the 10 human drives that make you feel alive. It's called The Charge. Okay, get the book, read the book. It'll give you numerous ideas and ways to really enhance and to be present and have fulfillment in your life. So get that book. That'll that's my prescription for the challenge that you mentioned. But really, if it comes to routine and too monotonous, then there's a lack of variety there, period. So that is something that we need in life. Everything can't just be just this certain way and then it becomes an issue. That's where novelty must come in your life. So whether it's learning something new, which is important, you might be learning about polygyny, you might be learning how to cook, you might be learning how to do archery, you might be learning how to shoot firearms, whatever it may be, that novelty is needed in our lives for constant growth. So prayerfully, we've been able to help you grow a little bit today with our understanding, have some type of connection and peace during these challenging times, in different times of crisis and things that are going on, minimally lessening the crisis that's going on in homes between sour, jacked up relationships, focusing on healing and moving forward together. So if you have one last question, if we do.
And just to clarify, when I was talking about doing the same thing, is that if a person is caring for you, or they're connecting with you, or they're doing certain things that you loved at one point, and they're still doing these things, sometimes that even happens within polygyny, that when a new person come along, they're like, oh, this person don't love me anymore, but the person is doing the same things that they were doing before this other person came along, but your mindset was so comfortable with what they were doing and caring for you that once that novelty or that new thing came in, or that new person, I guess the new thing came in, you forgot all about this stuff that this person is doing. So, that's what I meant by the same thing, not for them to just be boring, but just that don't take that stuff for granted.
No, I would just say the person might just be a boring person. I wasn't talking about your point, but the person might just be a boring person. So you're grateful for some stuff, but that person's just boring.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Go to the movies. No, amusement park. No. Restaurant? No.
Yeah.
Walk the dog?
Go
No,
with
no,
somebody
nature.
else.
You know, they
My
might just be
brother was like
boring.
Friend
that.
or something.
My brother, he's a
You
person that likes that. And then the person who he was with at first, he was trying. He was trying.
Right. That
He
goes
was
into
trying.
compatibility. And we,
And he
we
was
discussed
like,
it last week.
she don't do the same thing. She don't do this. And then it got to the point where he was actually comparing her to an ex of his. And he was like, once I start doing that, I realized we can't continue because it's not going to be a fruitful relationship.
Yeah.
Indeed. So that's what I meant
It's
by
crazy.
one person. So that goes more into compatibility. But just for clarity, Humble Soul says she wants to clarify. She meant bringing up poly during premarital counseling to see where each other stand, especially since some Muslims are now putting no poly in their nikah contracts.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. You should bring it up. You should discuss it. You should find out really why. That's important. I mean, I have daughters that don't want to have a polygynous relationship, and I have one that does. Neither of them are married and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Fatimah,
She
said she wants.
It sounds like you said no one that does.
No, and I have one that does.
Yeah.
One that
Okay.
does. Yes.
Yeah, one that does prefer polygyny
And she's got a number.
and stuff like that, right? So, but yes, it's important to discuss it. One, if it's already in the contract or whatever, then you know where the person stands.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Yeah.
trying to go and dissuade somebody and all that kind of stuff may not be worth your time. If you're a man, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's rare that a wife will put in the contract, he must practice polygyny and blah. She's worried about her marriage, which is the thing she should be worried about. But of course, it should be spoken about, especially if you're Muslims. You already know about Islam and stuff like that. You know, it may not be in your mind to do so, but you don't also want to just take it off the table just because. And it's not, no one can even put it in their contract in the fashion that you can't practice it, because you cannot make something prohibited that Allah Ta'ala allowed. You can't make something haram that is halal. Okay, but what you can do is say, if you do this, then I will have the right of divorce, or I can do this and that. You know, that's fine, fiqh-wise, but you can't make something haram that Allah Ta'ala may allow. That invalidates the contract anyway. But, you know, a person can have their preferences regardless. But discussing those, especially before beginning a serious relationship, which is marriage, should be done. I mean, that shouldn't even be a question. Something like that is simple, is to the point. That's having a discussion. You don't want to find out 5, 10, 25 years later after resentment and all the rest of this type of stuff. This person was feeling a certain way or holding back conversation and they thought you was cute. So they decided to go ahead and just get married. You know, I said, no, it's much deeper than that. So I would absolutely, you know, suggest that in those type of circumstances. So our sister Matt is also plugged in, giving us greetings as well. Hey, sis, how you be? And she's absolutely right. The mindset and societal construct of this society certainly has an influence on our thoughts and our behaviors. That's one of the reasons I believe that so many people are anti-poly. Meanwhile, in verbalizing it, whereas they anti-gay, but they're not verbalizing it.
Right.
Like, come on, dude.
And
Anyway,
can I just say something quickly?
please.
I married my husband, he was 19.
Teenager.
He was a teenager. And I was barely out of being teenager. Still up here though.
She older than me.
But older but funner.
A cougar.
Hardly. But
All right, no tripping.
can I just say something that we're going to be really brutally honest about marriage contracts and getting married and not having poly or having poly? You can evolve and change your mind about the whole thing years later, because that's what happened with us. That was not something that he was looking for, and then
It wasn't something that was in the contract.
But that doesn't, and I didn't know it could be.
Yeah, we didn't know anything. We hardly knew anything about Islam, except that it was the truth.
But I would have not put, you can't, because you can't say somebody can't do a thing that is allowed for them to do. I agree. But understand that when you do create a marriage contract, the person that you marry can grow and evolve into somebody else. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Just know that the 19-year-old that I married or the 20-year-old that he married are not the same people now in their 40s. But that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Just be aware that you'll change as you get older, hopefully for the best.
Indeed.
Just
all right, and in conclusion, Coach Nyla is going to speak, and then we're going to wrap up.
When she said that the person changes, which is so true, and it just made me think of DeVal, the Ellises. Ellis, whatever. He actually did a post about his wife, like they married young, like you guys did, and he talks about I grow to get to know this woman every single day, every single year,
That's
because
awesome.
he understands that we change throughout our lives.
Yes,
So it's
yeah.
not expecting this person to be the same person that you met or got married to this time, but that they're going to grow
gonna
and
grow and
possibly
change.
evolve and, learn this person every single. That's one of the things of how do you keep it where you're not
Just
taking
not
stuff for
monotonous,
granted,
yeah.
realizing that people are growing and learn the person every time.
Yeah.
Just make
I
sure
like
it's growing
that.
in the right area. We're
right
talking about
direction,
personal
right.
and professional growth, not like belly growth. That's me. I'm growing over the years. Now I got to
I
try
was
to get
gonna
it done.
say,
Anyway,
clean
that's
it
me
up.
all day. You know what I'm saying? So with that,
Or pregnancy.
pregnancy, please.
Our
That just
bellies
grow
can
and snap
grow.
back. That's nothing. Y'all.
It can
It's fine.
snap back.
Yes. So, all right, y'all. We appreciate you hanging out with us. So, for Corona, great advice. My number one piece of advice will be what Jordan Peele told us in his first feature film. So, with that being said, we appreciate you. Connect with us, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. Get on the email list. We'll communicate with you, follow social media. If you haven't liked the video, but you do like it, then like the video or subscribe to the YouTube channel or the Facebook page. Share this information. We appreciate you. Remember that a wish changes nothing, but a decision changes everything. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Assalamualaikum. Peace. Corona 2020. Hashtag Corona 2020 in the house.